and she can't be here till 10:30. So I was hoping yeah, okay, thank you. All right, so we'll have Papa Bear sings first, and then we'll have Lizzie up second. For those of you who have never been here before, welcome. My name is Silly Lily. This is Lessons Learned. We meet here every Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we talk about life lessons. Yeah, lessons learned, get it? But no, we're just average people, y'all. Remember, none of us are professionals. We've just been through some things and are willing to share our side of things in hopes that it helps somebody, right? This is a positive stream. If you're negative, you're out. I don't have time for it, y'all. I'm in my mid 40s. I have no time for negativity or bull s. No, watch my mouth. On the show, few rules since we're getting into there. No cussing, no drinking, no smoking when you're in the camera. Yeah, it's pretty much it. The other rule that I still see people get mad about, that's not our fault, is y'all send gifts. And while my folks are in the box, when you favorite me and stuff like that, you might see a wink or a heart hand. My hands do this. Because for the most part, when I have my guests in the box, I want to make sure that my attention is on them. It's not always easy to be on this show. You have to make yourself slightly vulnerable. So I do demand respect here. Cue hello. And finish your whiskey, all right? Oh, guacha. Thank you. All right. See, I can't even do it. I'll still say thank you. I can't. Okay, hold on. Okay, let's pause. What do you mean I'm kicking your butt over friendship with the flag? I'm mind blown at that one. What does that mean? Because I'm not liking that so much, right? Mimi, what are you doing? Good morning, Lumby. We shouldn't promote violence, y'all. All right, I'm gonna do the Q and Q, and then we're gonna get Papa Bear in the box, okay? This is the not hottest cup of tea I've ever drank, but to be fair, I only boiled the water for like 3. It didn't even boil. I just had it on the stove for like 3 minutes, but whatever. The Q and Q, it's a quote, I read a quote, ask a question, and this one is very simple. So you guys should all be able to give me an answer in the comments. Are you guys ready? I'm even going to make it easier. 1 is agree, 2 is disagree, okay? 1 is agree, 2 is disagree. It's not good to have all one wants. I agree. Because sometimes the biggest blessing in life is not getting what you thought you wanted. Examples, maybe you're going for a job and you don't get that job, but then later on you find out that, something bad happened there or something, you know what I mean? Kids, they want, gimme, I need, I want. And I'll tell you right now, my kids do not get everything they want. Do they have everything they need? Absolutely. But every want is not given, because if you give a kid, especially, everything they want, when they grow up and they're in the real world, they think that that's how it is. I want, you give me. Not happening. I'm not raising no spoiled little brats. Not happening. I don't care how you raise a kid. If a kid's going to be a bonehead, a kid's going to be a bonehead. Period. You cannot always look back and my parents raised me pretty right, and I turned around and did that whole FAFO thing, Yeah, they do. Absolutely. But it's not necessarily like a lot of parents will go back and blame themselves, but you raise 5 kids the same exact way and all 5 of them are going to grow up and turn out different. Every single one of them. So it's my thing is nobody needs everything they want. Each one has different requirements, yes, but the same kind of love and attention and affection would never be different amongst my children. They all get the same amount of love and affection. I would never. No. I don't understand what you're saying there. Is there different things that kids like? Yes. Do you have different hobbies or maybe different approaches, or just like with at school, there's different, approaches to learning? Some kids can read it and memorize it. Some kids are more of a hands-on. You got to have a project with it in order to do it. But the amount of love you give, if you can't treat all your kids fair, you don't deserve to have kids. If you're going to favor one or the other, I hope karma bites you in the butt. So that's how I feel about that. You gotta love all your kids, man. Even on their worst days, because they're gonna love you on your worst. Period. All right, Papa Bear, you ready? Hello.
Hello, good morning. I still haven't learned the lesson of don't say yes to streams that start before noon. But
I know we have this conversation a lot.
yeah, every time I come on, it's like, oh. But my
Look, trust me, I'm starting to think I might have to see if we can get this, just because I've been working nights and it's hard. I've been getting up at like 9:30, 10 o'clock most days because I don't get to bed till 2, 3, sometimes 4 now. And so this 10 a.m. is pretty rough for me too now. Like,
I get it.
I know for most people, you're like 10 a.m., you're still tired. Oh my, yeah, okay, well, y'all wasn't working until 2 a.m. last night.
There you go.
So,
and that's Jonathan's second reminder, by the way.
If you cuss one more time on my show, you will be instantly removed. I've already said that rule. You were here, you heard it. So either learn to be respectful and listen to Meet Me's rules. Otherwise, I'm going to remove you because I'm not going to have you getting me in trouble for your ridiculousness.
Yeah. And it's not like he's heard it from, I don't know, 3 different people.
3 or 4 people in the comments already, too, on top of it. I know.
Yeah.
Here, Papa Bear, did you know that God gave you 2 of these things? They put them on the side of your head. He calls them ears. It's for listening. That's something I taught my children. Remember, you turn on your listening ears? Yeah? Do you guys remember that from like 2-year-old daycare?
Yep. And what I was going to say, too, because we're in a stream, there's comments and we're reading, we have 2 eyes, but then I thought, well, we have 10 fingers. So,
I'm just saying, you gotta turn, guys, we're gonna turn on our listening ears today, okay? Boop, be ready. We are turning on our listening ears. You ready? We got this.
Okay.
Papa Bear, what's your topic? Welcome back and thank you for being here. And then what's our topic? What are we talking about?
I'm trying to remember how I phrased something about, like how to, like what stops us from moving on sometimes or healing. How do we move on? How do we get past something? How do we heal? And what I remember, someone said this to me once that made a huge impact was, they said, who would I be without the story, the drama, the trauma, the whatever it is. Because sometimes when we go through something bad, I'm not talking about you, Sammy. You're good. You're good. Sammy's my dog, my off-screen dog here. Yes. And she is now, her butt is on the couch, but her feet are on the floor. And I'm always like, that can't be comfortable. But, oh well. So, like, yeah, who would we be? Because when we go through, when something happens to us, we'll go through a period, most people I know, will go through a period where they kind of become the trauma, or the trauma becomes their identity. I am a blah, blah, blah. I was, and we don't always know how to let go of that identity that this new identity we've created of I'm this damaged person, or I'm this person, this terrible thing happened. And so we have to be willing to let go of that and be like, okay, I can actually be a different person, but that means letting go of what I have. And so many times we don't want to let go of that, whatever it is. This is why people stay in bad relationships. This is why people don't heal. We have to be willing to, I've got my girlfriend is on Instagram call on the other device, and she was just sitting there going, she's funny. She's the reason why I'm actually more awake this morning, because she's in the Philippines, and so we do a call every morning, and I'm up by 8 nowadays. 8, yay! Love you.
Good job, girlfriend.
Mama Bear's getting some kudos out
So here's my question, Papa Bear.
there. Mm-hmm.
And I think you might have a good answer for this. Why do we hold on to our traumas and allow it to screw up the whole rest of our life?
What's known is safer than what's not known.
But it's not always. So why do we still hang on to it?
The
Why do
idea
we hang on to that abusive past, or for some people, maybe they put themselves through some rough patches and had some addictions and sobered up, right? Like a lot of times people who go through something abusive or they're in recovery, they hold, no matter, I know people who like are sober for years and years, and I call them a dry drunk because they still hold on to all of that.
Yeah. Oh gosh, there's the movie Changing Lanes with Samuel Jackson and Ben Affleck, and they get in a minor fender bender, and the story goes on and on. But there's one point where one character, Samuel Jackson's character, who's recovering, has been just insane in the movie dealing with this other guy, and he goes to a sponsor and he's like, "But I didn't drink. But I didn't drink." He goes, "Whoopity-doo." And the guy's like, isn't that the goal, to not drink? He goes, no, the goal is to be better.
Yeah.
And some people don't get that. And so they stick with the, okay, I'm going to be this person. I'm going to do things. I'm going to follow the rules. But they don't heal. They don't get better. And a lot of it, I'm going to go back to because what's unknown is scarier than what's known. Because as bad as whatever situation we're in now is, getting out of it might, at least short term, cause more pain than staying in it. There are times that, like, yeah, I know I don't like this. I've been in relationships where it's like, this isn't right, but I'm hoping that it's going to get better. I'm working towards it getting better. And leaving would be a whole lot more work and a lot more pain than staying in it, in my head at least. Sometimes we look to it that way.
I know. Okay, I'm going to kind of go back to let's say a man is not friendly with his hands, okay? Mm-hmm. And it is very clearly not safe for one to stay. But yet they stay. And then even once they leave, they shun and turn away from every good future prospect because of the past. So I guess my answer to that is that we think we could change someone sometimes.
That's part of it. And because to change someone else, seems easier than to change ourselves.
Mhm.
Sometimes in those relationships, I mean, we have to be willing to stand up for ourselves and say, I deserve better.
Mhm.
And sometimes we've gotten that message so often in life that we aren't good enough. We don't deserve better, that we should be happy with what we got. We get all sorts of different messages that reinforce stay with the status quo rather than, reach out and try for something different. And what this person said to me basically was, if you weren't this trauma drama identity, who would you be or who could you be? And that's kind of the door that you open up. And it's like, when you start seeing like, wow, I could be happy, I could be successful, I could be free, which are all scary too, because, any new adventure is scary.
Change is scary. That was going to be my next thing, is sometimes it's easier to be complacent than it is to make the change.
And that's the piece I was going with too, and what helps sometimes is, I love this analogy, is that fear or being nervous, scared, and excitement are the same physically. Physiologically, when we are nervous or scared or afraid, what do we got here? I missed it because of the comments.
Don't let your fears take the place of your dreams. I have to look at that every day, everything I do, every time I use my right hand, and I don't have on long sleeves.
Well, and I've got, has a similar purpose for me. It's the only tat I have. It took me a long time. I wanted, if I was going to do something permanent, I wanted it to be something that was important to me, that made a message that was going to be relevant, 20 years from now. And it started off as just like an S for spirit, because I was in a program at my church that was looking at, what are our barriers? Where do we get hung up? Why are we not becoming more prosperous as a human being? Not just prosperous money, but prosperous with activities, with life, with joy, love, everything. And so I would draw this S on my hand to remind me, look to spirit. What would spirit do, sort of idea. Then I went, if I add two little lines there, then it's kind of like a dove, is my theory, which stood for peace. But it's also a T, which can stand for trust. So it just kind of grew over time to be, remind me of things. And there's times that I was dealing with a workers' comp issue, and, they came back. We had to actually go to mediation. And the person came back and they had an offer. They said, oh, this much money. I was like, well, okay, that'd be pay off my credit card that I have. And it's something, because I was hearing they could at any point withdraw the offer, and then we have to go to court. So I'm like, do I take this offer? Because they could pull it and then I got nothing and I have to go to court. And at one point I just asked my lawyer, so like, if we went to court, what am I looking at? What are the possibilities? And she laid it out. And I said, okay, well, let's wait then. I kept going, looking at spirit. And then all of a sudden, at one point they came back with an offer, and it was like, this is as good as I would get if I went to court. So yeah, let's take it. And it made a difference of, tens of thousands of dollars in my case, just to trust.
So
I get an answer for the question in the chat. This is what Jesus wore.
So how do you get yourself unstuck? What is one of the things that has allowed you to keep pushing, or to, again, someone who can relate it to putting things down and finding themselves, to getting away from a handsy guy, whatever. What is?
Yeah, or handsy. I mean, because
vice versa. Yeah, vice versa.
I actually was in a relationship where that happened, and people are like, "Yeah, but you're bigger than they were." I said, "But I don't." It's so inbred in me not to fight back against females from when I was a little kid that I was stuck. But how do you? Sometimes it's enough bad happens that the scales tilt, and also you're like, I just can't do this bad. I just can't be here anymore. This is too much. Sometimes the universe gives you the answer, in that they, like in one of my situations, the other person finally found a reason to leave me which was the best gift they ever gave me. Because I'm like Sisyphus going, pushing that boulder up the hill. I will keep out a relationship. I'm trying to make it work forever, because if I love the person, I'm going to try to make it work. Not everybody has that attitude, though.
Okay, Papa Bear. So I think the thing that most of us need to, at least parents, those of us who are parents, who have kids, if our kids were in that situation, would we be okay with it? If not, why do we deal with it?
That's great. No, that's an excellent way to look at it. Is like, or if my best friend was going through this, if anybody I cared about was going through this, would I be okay with what was happening to them? No. Well, hello. That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah. That's what I ask a lot of people lately. I'm like, what if your kid was in that situation? What would you want them to do? If your kid was falling down the path of usage, what would you want your kid to do? You want them to quit and get their stuff together. And I think that's what you should follow too.
Yep. And that's what, it's like, someone else had talked to me about that before. Like, ask yourself, how do they phrase it? It's like, ask yourself the question of what advice would I give to a friend who's going through this situation? And then that usually has the answer right there, because it's what you would want to do in that situation ultimately. And then you have to be willing to not buy back that answer, because sometimes people will be like, oh, I would blah blah blah. Oh, so is that something you should do yourself? And they're like, well, no, I can't, because blah 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 blah, and they have all the different reasons. But the answer's there. They gave the answers. So then you have to find this support system. Having support system is huge. The people who can support you in advancing, growing, developing. The people who are going to pull you down, we just say bye, and the people who are going to lift us up, thank you. It's tough.
Yeah. What advice would you give to somebody who felt stuck?
What advice would I give to someone who felt stuck?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, a lot of different conflicting thoughts. I'm stuck in my thoughts right now, believe it or not. I would say, what is it you want, and what's keeping you from getting what you want? And then sometimes you have to go down levels with that. It is not just what's keeping you from what you want. Okay, well,
how do we get there? How do we figure it out? Right? Like,
and then how do you get there? And then sometimes we have to find the reason that's big enough for us to do it. Because if someone, you say, what do you want in life? You ask them their goal, their dream.
Shouldn't the reason of self-love be enough?
Sadly, it often isn't, because we get the message that we're not.
People don't even know what self-love is.
Exactly. And that's where we got to dig deeper. Like I was going to say is, if you ask people what they want, some people say, oh, I want money. It's like, okay, so what would life look like if you had the money? And they say, well, I'd be able to, go out and do things. I'd be able to have adventures. I help people. Okay. What do you get from those experiences? And you keep digging deeper. What do you get from that? What do you get from that? Eventually you get to the point of they want to feel safe, or something to that line. Mm-hmm. And you find that deeper meaning. Yeah, money is a superficial, for some people it works for a short term, but it's not going to last forever. But to come up with what is the real joy in your heart that you want?
So if you guys are just tuning in, we're kind of all over the place per usual, but we're in the talking about, in a broader term of self-love and learning what boundaries. We're talking boundaries, setting boundaries for yourself, for others, and when they're crossed over and over again, you have to make that choice to make the change, because nobody's going to swoop in and be able to change you for you. You're the only one who can change you or the situations that you're around, unfortunately. And if you can't look in the mirror and be happy and content with yourself and your situations and your surroundings, the only person that can fix that is you.
Yeah. And it's about being happy with yourself at the moment. Because if I look in the mirror, I don't know that I'll ever get to a point where I'm like, perfect, I'm done.
5 minutes, Papa Bear.
Cool. The other thing, when you going back to the question, what would I tell someone who's stuck? This is going to sound simplistic, but I think it is one of the best things I've ever found is journaling, just writing. Sometimes just getting up in the morning. The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron is an excellent guide, but sometimes it's just writing it out, because as we're writing out stuff, eventually as we're writing, we get past all the blocks in our brain, and the stuff we really want starts to show up.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes not getting what you want is a blessing in disguise.
Mm-hmm. No, it is. It very much is. And I was listening to I was watching a video. I was doom scrolling this morning, and there's this guy who's doing. It's called Piano Man something or other, and he plays his piano and he tells stories that he's found on different places. And this guy was talking about a job interview he went on, and after a couple minutes, they're like, well, to be honest with you, we've had a great turnout, and I'm not sure that this is going to be you're going to be the right candidate for this position that we have. And the guy said, I was like really crushed, because it was like, wow, I barely got to talk. And instead of being like, okay, well, thank you, and leaving, because obviously I'm not what you're looking for, he started asking him questions like, so what would the ideal candidate for the job look like? And he just started asking actual real questions of the interviewer. And they got to talking, and after a few minutes, a little bit later, he's like, I don't think you're a good match for this job, but there's this other job we haven't posted yet that's going to be opening, which I think you would actually be really great for. And they talked, and he ended up getting that other job because he let go of the expectation of, oh, I come here, I do my good show of being a job interviewer, I impress you, you like me, you hire me. And the first job probably wouldn't have been a good match for him.
Right.
So it was good that the interviewer caught that, and that the guy going for the job was able to let go of, I have to be a performer, I have to be a good interviewer. Because he was able to let go of that, he ended up with a better job.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, Papa Bear, did you want to add anything to that? Finish any wrapping up lines?
Yeah, so we got like 2 more minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds.
A little over a minute.
Okay. Darn, I was going to keep enough time to do a song real quick, but no, we got out of time. No, so last thing, let go of there's a right way to do things. I don't, what's the right way to do this? The phrase I use is, does it work? Does this thing work? Does this plan work? Does this practice work? Does it produce results? It's not about whether it's right or wrong. It's, does it work? And if it doesn't work, you have to change something.
Yeah.
So that's a great question to look at life is, does what I'm doing right now work?
And just because it works doesn't mean it's right. Because I'm in a spot where my life is working and I'm not happy.
Well, then I would say in my worldview, then it doesn't work. Like you're maintaining, you're existing.
It's paying the bills. It's keeping us alive. I'm able to travel. I got my kid her first car. Like, bills are paid. I'm okay.
Yeah.
But I don't like it's not that I don't like what I'm doing. It's just becoming too much. Like it's a lot. It's not the job, it's the people. It's the selfishness. It's the laziness. It's the inability to work as a team.
Yeah.
A lot of this younger generation is me. Right? They don't, I'm a server bartender. Okay. Just as like a quick example, last night I ran a bar with 12 seats, 9 tables, and made drinks for the servers. They each had 4 tables. Okay, because I work. I'm able to make 4, 5, 6 times their ability, and I'm grateful for that. So that's why I feel like it's going to be hard for me to work my way up to that somewhere else, right? Because you got to take your time, learn, and then get fast at it. And I feel stuck though. So that's why I was asking questions.
So I was going to say, for you right now, yeah, it doesn't work. Quitting doesn't work either. Now you're looking for what's the solution. And part of it, this is closing one. This is like something that's been on my mind a lot too. Is sometimes we think we're so clear on the right way or what we should do that we don't see the other options. Like, I'm wanting to move to the Philippines. I also have a dog that's 10 and a half, almost 12, 11 years old. And she would not travel well. So she's here. I'm here until she's not, basically. Now, for me, that looks, initially it was like, okay, I'm going to have to wait till she passes. So we wait. But it could also be that, that there's somebody else who could benefit from her being in their life, might eventually show up and be like, oh, I love, and someone I know, someone I trust.
Right.
And so there are other options that I don't know of. So you got to be open-minded. Yeah, that there are other options. I just don't see them yet.
All right, Papa Bear, tell these folks, when do you stream and what are your streams like? And do you have any other shows or events? And then I'm going to do a super quick self-care, self-love mid segment, and then we're going to get Lizzie in.
I stream random times, usually Wednesday nights. I often will be over either at Lucky Charms for her open mic thing she does in the evening, or Hawkeye doing music. When I do stream, it's either, talking about stuff. I do radical forgiveness, so we'll talk about forgiveness. We'll talk about recovery and healing, and I'll play music, blues, folk, rock, and country, all of the above.
Awesome. Papa Bear, I appreciate you so much. You always bring a great topic and a great conversation when you come on here. Girlfriend, thanks for having him up and awake this morning. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
He says.
Because I will be honest, the first 3 or 4 minutes, his eyes are usually like this when we're talking. He's still...
Yeah, usually I wake up like 5 minutes before the show. Today I was actually up for an hour before the show. So, all right, good luck with the rest of the show.
Bear.
I'm going to go back to my call. Bye.
Have the best day, honey. Thank you. All right, you guys, that was Papa Bear. He is an amazing soul. He has been on this show quite a few times now, and he always has such positive things to come in and say. And if for some reason he usually picks a topic that'll like ring a bell with me if something I know someone's going through or myself is going through. So thank you again, Papa Bear. Lizzie, you got like less than 2 minutes, okay? And I'm gonna have you get in the box. Now this is where I do a little self-care, self-love segment, and so we're just gonna do it super quick. First of all, and for those of you that don't know what self-love means, that means actually putting yourself first. That means that you take yourself on dates. That means that you don't allow yourself just to become an employee of a business or just a mom, or you have your own identities outside of what you do. Self-care is things like, for some women, it's going to the salon, getting their hair and nails done. For some women, it's grabbing a book with some relaxing tunes playing in the background. For some, self-care looks like going on a crazy hike. You know what I mean? So it's doing things for yourself that make you healthier, happier, and overall just better. And I think that a lot of us should strive for that. We should strive each day to be better than the last. So I kind of gave you some tips there, get out, especially now it's getting nicer. You guys go hiking, get outside, take walks, even if it's not on like a hiking trail. Get a bike. I don't know, grab some rollerblades if you're still coordinated enough, Not you, nature. Oh, Kaboop. I don't know how you're a Cancer and you don't love the outdoors. We're water babies. Not Lizzie. No. Bad. Drink your spring water. Oh, okay. But you got to be outside most of the time for that. Bad, Lizzie. Drink your spring water. Y'all, listen, if y'all don't believe me, Lizzie, request the box. I'm going to begin in a minute. If y'all don't believe me, this is the last self-care, self-love thing I'm going to explain to you, okay? From what I understand, from the research that I've done, which was the show on Netflix called Down to Earth with Zac Efron and Darren O'Lean. And love them, okay? But listen, a water's job is to go around and collect minerals. Okay? You guys got that, right? A water's job is to go around and collect minerals. We drink water in order to replenish our minerals and the water, because we're like, I don't know if you guys know this either, but we are mostly made of water. I know. Okay? So by drinking purified water, you're actually pulling those minerals from your body, not replenishing them. When you buy things like alkaline water, you're simply buying water that was purified and they added it back in so they could charge you an arm and a leg and give it a fancy name like alkaline water, pH balance. It's a waste of money. Spring water is all you guys need. That's it. Drink your spring water and y'all will feel better. You water drinkers, change to spring water and come back to me in a couple weeks. All right, Lizzie, here we go.
And then stick with two things. Number one, coffee is flavored water.
I'm never drinking coffee again. I'm drinking tea.
Tea is flavored water, and so is sweet tea. It's just very flavored and sugared.
If you do not add the sugars to it, fine. But once you add the sugars begin to dehydrate you, which defeats the purpose of drinking it.
Somebody needs to call the Pope. That is a sin in the southern states to not have sugar. Call the Pope.
All right, Lizzie, I'm excited if you want. I don't want to BS too much because I did cut into a few minutes of your time. So let's dive in. What did you pick and why?
What did we pick? We are talking about anxiety, social media, and how it's very difficult to have one without the other. So when I was sitting here thinking about like what is kind of like a lesson that I've learned and kind of taught myself. And I do suffer from anxiety. And I feel like that's very common. It's incredibly common these days. And I have to sit back and look at what causes it, right? There's things that we can't control. You're going to have things in your life, maybe a job change, you've lost someone you cared about. There's going to be things in your life that you can't control, but there are things that you can control. And one of the things I caught myself doing was constantly comparing my life to others on social media. So like if I were to go pull up Lily's Facebook page, I'm probably going to see maybe pictures of when she's gone on vacation or maybe when she's going out to eat and the wonderful food pics that are shared. And it's going to look like they're living their best life. And then it makes me feel like I'm not living my best life. And it makes me completely feel like I'm not successful. I'm not succeeding. I'm not doing what others do. And it really brings you down. 100% will start to bring you down. Yeah, no one's life is perfect. We certainly paint it that way, right? Don't we? When we're looking at all these pictures and on the social media. So I limit myself, and that is very hard to do because we are constantly in a habit of swiping and looking. I had to go through and turn off all social media notifications and to pretty much, I will go look at it when I want to know what you're doing, right? I don't need Facebook or Instagram constantly telling me, hey, Lily's on vacation today. I didn't need that. So my thing was, I started to look at what I was posting, and I started to post things that were not always positive. Sometimes sharing that, you know what, today I'm having a bad day, because I guarantee you half of the people probably looking at that are probably having a bad day too with you. And we look at this app, right? Social media is a wonderful thing. The connections that you make, the friends I have made on this app, I would have never met them in the real world. We would have never crossed paths, you know, geographically, jobs, we never would have crossed paths. So social media is such a wonderful thing to have. But it's kind of like being in an abusive relationship sometimes with it, right? It will beat you up and spit you out, and you gotta have tough skin for it, and you gotta learn to to take the good from it and to set aside and walk away from it when you need to. For me, I've turned to reading. If anybody comes in my stream, y'all know I'm an avid reader. I may not read the most mentally healthy books, but we definitely have found that like they're a little spicy. They're a little spicy, you know, but they keep me out of jail. So there you go. It keeps me out of jail. So what I've just discovered is replace social media with something in the real world. Just like you were saying, go on a hike, get off of social media for a few hours a day. Even if you're just like, I was born in 1982. I remember what it's like before we had internet and cell phones. My child does not. Like to her, that's like living without electricity. Like the concept of no internet and no cell phone is like, what do you mean we don't have water? We don't have food. It's like a survival thing for them. And, like one of the things we were just talking about is Chick-fil-A has introduced this new box where when you come in to have dinner with your family, they'll give you a little box, you put your cell phones in it, you turn them in, and then at the end of the meal, you get your box back with your phones and they give you free ice cream. Just kind of a motivation to be present in the world. Like social media is just a simple little clip of it, but I feel like it's replaced real world interactions. You know what I mean? We will sit here and we will talk to people on a screen all day long, but we won't leave our house. And we've got to, you're right, get out, breathe the fresh air, live that life, come off social media and stop looking at what everybody else in this world is doing and do you.
So something I want to touch base before the thought leaves my mind, because my ADHD does that to me, is that first of all, if I'm posting a picture, Lizzie, on my Facebook, understand it took me 643 shots to get that one, okay? Understand I had to order that meal 7 times before it came out looking right for the picture. So they probably sent it out wrong in the first place with tomatoes or onions, which I don't like, okay?
Mm-hmm. They probably brought me water instead of Coke.
I get a water and a Coke, thank you very much, okay? I drink my water, sip on my Coke, and then, yeah, so I drink both at least. But I do enjoy my sodas and coffees, and I happen to enjoy very sugary drinks, which is why I have to constantly tell myself, this is what you need, because my little cup of coffee, my tea here, took a 1/4 cup of sugar.
That's not that much. We need to sweeten that up.
Oh, no, it's just perfect.
And it's a Christmas love. I love that we're going Christmas vibes today.
It's all my Mickey stuff. I have all Disney mugs, or vacation mugs. But my point is, you guys, you're seeing these amazing meals, right? Which probably are filtered to make it look fancier, right? Or, you know, AI edited somehow. You're seeing these family pictures or these picture of me even where I look like I'm but you know, I probably had to pick those pictures apart and move my angle and adjust. So you didn't see the back roll that I don't like, or my little muffin top was hanging. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I can make myself look like how you want to look, different angles, you know, hold the camera up high enough. But y'all, none of that is real life, right? Because it just took me 45 minutes to get this picture so that other people can hit a like button, so that my IG syndrome can be satisfied, my instant gratification syndrome. I made that up, but we all have it. We all have it now. We all want your likes. Like my picture, like my TikTok. Now. My whole life revolves around the likes that I get, and I'm exhausted. So I stopped. It's like I'm not perfect, y'all. And then like you, I now, and that's the main reason I do this show. It's okay to not be okay, y'all.
It's quite normal to not be okay. It's quite normal to not be okay. I feel like it's more there. If you actually like, when I look at my sister's page, right, her Facebook page, my sister's in a very abusive marriage, physically, emotionally, and it goes both ways. It's not just one-sided. But if you were to go to their page right now, both of them, they look like the happiest Christian, go to church every Sunday couple, vacation together. But in reality, behind closed doors, I wouldn't trade my life at all to deal with what she puts up with and what she puts out there. You never know what's going on. People put out there what they want you to see. And if that's all you're seeing is just what people have groomed themselves to be and present, then it really will affect you. It will affect your mental health. It'll affect how you feel that you can socialize with people. It might make you feel like you're not good enough to socialize with these people because maybe you're behind in where everybody else is. I know I did that a lot with people I went to high school with. I was looking to see okay, this one went to college, this one didn't. I haven't finished college yet. And while some of us can use a little bit of that as a motivation to kind of get up and do stuff, it hurts. It can really bring you down. I found that, like, especially when I first started streaming, this became such an addiction for me. I would wake up in the middle of the night and be like, I wonder who's on. You know what I mean? And it was like, it was just constantly pulling me back. So I've made it to where I limit myself. For anybody that, you know, knows me or joins my stream, I'm a morning streamer. When I come home, I'm present in my home. It's very rare that I hop on any social media, not just this app or Facebook, Snap, anything. I don't log on to it when I'm present at home. I like to be present in the home. And what I've noticed is it's made an impact on my daughter. Even my daughter at one point had told me, you know, Mom, I don't really like the streaming as much, you know. And so we talked about it. We're like, okay, well, let's take a break from it for a while. And then eventually I came back to it, but it was with, as you were saying, that horrible word that we don't like that starts with a B, boundaries. I had to create myself, I hate that word. I had to create myself boundaries. And we were saying this earlier too, when you are doing something and your kids see you doing it, you're setting that example of this is how it needs to be, right? If you are in an abusive relationship, or if you have your phone in your face 24/7, you're showing your child that that's life. That's what we do. And you've got to show them that other things exist. Get outside, read a book, go shopping, take your kids to the movies. Like, it's just such a foreign concept now to actually be outdoors.
Yeah, and I don't understand that, because I couldn't wait to go outside, you know, like as a kid, you could go outside and play. Back in the day, that was our life. You tell a kid to go outside and play, they act like it's a damn punishment.
Yeah, we weren't allowed in the house.
No, you thirsty? Here's the hose. It's hooked up out back. Just make sure you run it first, because it'll burn you if you take that first sip sitting out in the sun all day.
I'm going to confess
that was the only warning I got.
my waterness, when I was pregnant with my daughter, I was obsessed with water hose water. That was the best tasting water.
It was. It was. I drank hose water all growing up, man. Because Papa, we were on a farm. We was outside. You don't go inside. You stayed outside.
Yeah.
And because you were told to stay outside, but that's where you wanted to be. You're out in the woods, running amok. You're riding down by the library in the Metro Park on your bike. You know what I mean? You didn't want to be in the house. Being in the house was being grounded. That was punishment.
Exactly, because there was nothing to do in the house. We had no internet. You had one TV that the whole family shared, and if your parents were home, you weren't watching anything fun.
Young and the Restless, followed by Bold and the Beautiful every afternoon all summer, ladies and gents.
Yeah. Days of Our Lives was ours.
They weren't a Days of Our Life. They were Grandma and Mom both. Young and the Restless, followed by Bold and the Beautiful every day. Still every day.
So that's what I've kind of told my daughter this summer. There's going to be limits to how much that we can lay in our bed and how much. And she's in high school, so y'all know that high schoolers are hard to get out of the bed in the summer. But we're going to do things, and what I'm going to have to do is just make it exciting for her and relevant to her as what she likes. But that's my biggest thing, is set your limits with your social media. It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful tool to have to meet people and to be able to talk about your life and to be able to share all that. But when you start to see it affecting your mental health in a bad way, step away from it. Find something in your real world to do. Like I said, I read 52 books last year. I stay there because when I'm having anxiety, I can't sit down and watch a movie. I can't focus. I might hear that movie. I might see everything that's going on, but my mind is just reeling. But when I sit down to read a book, it forces me to focus. I'm having to build a world and get into these characters and follow a plot, and it completely makes me shift my mind and forces me to go to something else.
Yeah. Well, like you were saying, this is an amazing thing for us to have this technology, for us to be able to communicate with people and become friends with people from all over the world. But what I know for a long time I forgot is this is supposed to be like a supplement, a little pizzazz to add to my life. This wasn't supposed to become my life. Mm-hmm. That's what I allowed this to be. And I'm struggling now. Like, no, I'm not live as much, but I still hold my phone in my hand way too much. And that's going to be a goal I've got. Now, granted, when I'm at work, I really don't even touch my phone because I actually work. You know what I mean? Like I don't have I shouldn't say that. That came out wrong. I have a job where I can't, right? Like I can't be at a table answering y'all's text when I'm taking orders and stuff. And when you're busy, you guys have seen what a server does in a restaurant. I don't have time. I can run out back, hit my thing a couple times, and then like, I'm getting my butt kicked. Talk to you later. Like I don't have, or, oh, look, Lizzie's on. Hi, Lizzie at work. Love you. Bye. Like, you know what I mean? So for me, it was realizing that I actually could do things and I didn't need the phone in my hand to do it. And now I have to, like you said, read books instead of scroll TikTok. You know what I mean? Because I'm finding myself doing a lot more doom scrolling these days. So even though I'm not live, I'm still stuck and relying on my phone.
Yep.
I like it.
Yeah. And if you guys need any book recommendations, if you need some help, I can let you know. Some really good books to read. I'm trying to read the chat too. I'm trying to multitask here. Okay.
I don't have any idea what you're talking about. Okay, so if you guys are just tuning in, this is Lizzie B. Wait, that way. I'm Silly Lily, and we're talking about ways to help manage your own anxiety and how being on here can cause anxiety. So yeah, I streaming is a lot, y'all, and you definitely have to have a backbone to be able to get on here. But I will say, for all you trolls and negative Nancys out there, shame on you. And remember, karma, she's a whole lot meaner than you could ever be. So sometimes some of y'all should think twice before you speak on any app, because you never know what somebody's going through and what kind of awful downward spiral you can cause by your evil words, because you think you're being funny or you don't care. And I'm sorry, but shame on y'all. Because there are people that get on here and they use this app to feel better. And then you go and try to tear them apart because you can't fix yourself. Ew. That is all. So, okay, real quick, because 2 minutes left already. Did you want to add anything to that? Maybe like if you found somebody who asked you, or somebody asked you, I'm having bits of anxiety, what is the one main thing you'd recommend?
For me, it's you got to look at what's the cause of your anxiety, right? Are you getting anxious when you go to social media? Are you anxious? What's the cause? Because you can't address it. And anxiety, my daughter goes to a psychiatrist, and he said something to me one time that just stuck. He said, anxiety is a bully. When you are at your weakest, it will bully you. It will come at you. And you have got to figure out, okay, why is it bullying me? What's the source? And then, like I said, step away from it. If it's social media that's causing you, to do a digital detox. Step away for a few days. For me, it was reading. For some people, it's hiking, getting outdoors. Take your spring water with you as you're out there hiking. But it's whatever I feel like, whatever is going to just completely make your mind shift. And a lot of times it's things that maybe hold your interest, right? Painting. Maybe if you love movies, video game, whatever you want to do, bowling. Something. Just get out there in these streets and come off the app sometimes. Meet these people. You don't have to stay on a screen. If you've got good friends nearby, meet up. Do something. Girls trip on KD's dime. Let's go.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he could fit at least 4 of us in his house. Two to his room.
I'd share. We're good girls, KD. Yeah, that's my recommendation. If you've got anxiety, find out what is causing it, and then that's the best thing, because you can't address anxiety if you don't know what the root of it is, where it's coming from. You can mask it, you can try to put that fire out, but if you don't know what's flaming it, if you don't know what's fueling it, then you're never going to address it. You're not going to overcome it. But digital detox, y'all, they're hard. It's almost like quitting smoking or drinking. It is hard. It is an addiction. But it's shocking how much better you will feel if you will take brief little digital detox. And if you find yourself going back on and feeling bad, then that's when you jump right back off and do something that makes you feel good. Let's see who can dance. Oh, I can twerk.
Let's face it, for the love of all things.
Lizzie, twerk off.
Ugh. I thank you for being on the show. If you guys have not done so already, favorite Lizzie. She is an early morning streamer. I now go in there when I'm up with my kid and then fall back asleep in her stream because I've only got like 2 hours of sleep usually by the time I go.
I do usually go live about 5 a.m. So if you don't sleep or you get up early, you come on in.
Yeah.
Right on.
But
2020.
thank you very much. You did awesome, by the way. Not one swear word. Yay!
Scott, don't be telling the secrets. They got to come to the stream to see that.
Right.
Well, y'all have a wonderful day. I will hop back to work. But hey, if you have some anxiety, come to my stream and we can help you with it. We can help you with it.
Enter with caution. Boom, boom, boom.
We will dance it out together. All right. Love y'all's faces.
All right, Lizzie. Have a good one, sweetheart. Thank you. So, guys, if you just tuned in, you just missed another amazing show. Lessons Learned. We meet here every Friday, 10 a.m. We talked about boundaries and respecting oneself and, the self-love, self-care, being able to step away from technology and that helps with things I like. We talked about a whole bunch of stuff today. So if you missed it, you're going to have to find it on YouTube. It'll be posted. It was a great show. Guys, I do appreciate all y'all for being here. Remember, I love you. I believe in you. And never, ever give up on your dreams. Dun, dun, dun. Show's over.